So on Thursday, we covered the top 10 worst or least accurate adaptations from the 2 seasons of Mortal Kombat Legacy, which you can check out in the top right hand corner. But now let's go through the top 10 most accurate. Hello my fellow oddities and welcome to the top 10 best Legacy Mortal Kombat adaptations. I have gone through every character adapted in these 2 seasons and given them a weighted average score 0 to 100 based on how accurate they are to the source material. Today I'll be covering the top 10 of that list. This idea was inspired by Fantagonistic's MCU Best Adapted Heroes video and that series they have on their channel, which you can check out for yourself in the top right hand corner. And I'll also be using their same criteria, but instead of the 3 C's, it'll be the 3 K's. Costume, the character's overall look. Points will be taken off for removing or changing aspects of the outfit itself, or physical characteristics such as race, muscularity, or hair. This one is weighted much less than the other 2 just cause I didn't want adaptations that only resemble the character in appearance to get too high of a score. Character, the personal aspects of the character and who they are. Points are taken off for changes in personality and missing or altered movesets and relationships. And finally, continuity, the what, where, and why of the character. Points are taken off for alterations to backstory, major events, and their place in the overall world. And one more thing, this is not as much a critique as it is a fun breakdown. This is not saying that these characters are good, oh, certainly not, but simply accurate adaptations. Relatively. So let's dive into the top 10 best adapted Legacy Mortal Kombat characters. Starting off at number 10 with a 66.3, a D+. That is not a promising sign. I have Shang Tsung from both seasons, but more prominently and importantly, season 2. Shang Tsung in the games is kinda like the Joker. He's had many different backstories, and we don't really know which one is the real one. Sometimes he's native to Outworld, sometimes he's an Earthrealmer who switched sides. But in the actual events of the games, he starts out as the host of the Mortal Kombat tournament, who steals souls, shapeshifts, and tries to manipulate the tournament for an Outworld win. After that, he becomes a treacherous foe for the likes of Liu Kang and Raiden, even killing the former after teaming up with Quan Chi. His look has varied over the years, sometimes old, sometimes young, sometimes wearing red, sometimes yellow, and sometimes he has a goatee, other times he doesn't. Shang Tsung in Legacy is the host of the Mortal Kombat tournament, and he wears a very similar robe, but this one is made of snakeskin, very fitting as Shang Tsung's sort of spirit animal or animality has always been a snake. But more importantly, he's played by the OG Shang Tsung from the 1995 Mortal Kombat movie Hiroyuki Tagawa in season 2. In season 1, he's played by some other dude. No disrespect. But this just elevates the performance and makes his personality at least pretty freaking perfect, which makes up for some of his shortcomings as an adaptation, like the lack of powers, he doesn't soul steal or transform, like the horrendous dynamic he has with Liu Kang where Liu works for him, or the fact that he's bald. That's just not it. Though, backstory-wise, I will give them credit as he is the one to create Mileena, just like in the games. That's something I'd usually expect Legacy to throw out the window, but good job on that one, Legacy crew. Overall, hard carried by Hiroyuki Tagawa. At number 9 with a 69.8, a C-, I have Stryker from season 2. He's also technically in season 1, but Stryker in the games is a cop. He has a gun, and a taser, and grenades. That's pretty unique for a cop. He's usually depicted with a blue t-shirt, a cap, sometimes backward because he's cool like that, and blonde or brown hair. His personality is a tough everyman with an abundance of bravery and will. Seriously, this dude would be a prime candidate for the Green Lantern Corps. Story-wise, he first begins helping the Earthrealmers during the invasion of Outworld, and after that, he doesn't really do much. In Legacy, Stryker is seemingly the chief of the Special Forces, which is a lot more like a basic police force in this timeline. In Season 1, his characteristics are much more accurate, having the brown hair and clean-shaven face, but in Season 2, he has a more accurate outfit, being a sort of SWAT uniform. His moveset is definitely the most accurate thing about him, and it's why he makes this list. He uses guns and a taser. His IQ is a little questionable because he decides to tase Liu Kang instead of shoot him. Man, maybe cops really can't tell the difference between a gun and a taser. However, in season 2, where he's an actual character, he has dark hair and a beard, which is not right. And he's also in the first tournament, which is just completely off. Overall though, he's actually in the show so little that they don't really have a chance to butcher him too much, so he makes it here just based off that. Plus, him not doing a lot is technically accurate to the source material, so... At number 8 with a 75.1, a C, I have Sonya Blade from Season 1. Sonya in the games is a Special Forces officer who is hellbent on tracking down the man who killed her partner, Kano. Her commanding officer is Jax, and she goes after Kano while he's boarding the ship to Shang Tsung's island, and because of that, gets caught up in the Mortal Kombat tournament. She often wears green or black, has blonde hair, usually in a ponytail, and she can shoot ring blasts from the gauntlets on her arms. She's also particularly flexible and athletic. Her personality is tough and independent, but she has a heart you can get to once you get to know her. Legacy Sonya had her partner killed by Kano, is best friends with Jax, and is hellbent on capturing Kano and putting an end to the Black Dragon crime cartel. Her hair is blonde, in a ponytail, and she wears black. Not a very Sonya-like outfit, it's pretty generic, but it could be worse I guess. She also shows some athleticism and flexibility when she lifts herself up when chained up and pushes herself off the ceiling. She has no ring blasts and instead uses guns, and also never shows up for the tournament, which is certainly not great, but as a character, her personality, while a little dull and could be better, is pretty Sonya-like. She hates Kano, spits in his face, but with Jax and Stryker I guess, she's a lot more soft. So by Legacy standards, decent adaptation, even though she didn't get to interact with any of the characters I would have liked her to. Then again, they were all butchered, so maybe I wouldn't like to see that actually. Next up at number 7 with a 75.3, also a C, we have Sindel, showing up in only one episode of Season 1. Sindel in the games is the mother of Kitana who, when her husband is killed and realm is taken over by Shao Kahn, is forced to become the Emperor's wife. Not wanting to be subjected to this for the remainder of her very long lifespan, she decides to leave this world. However, years later, she is resurrected by Shao Kahn, now brainwashed to serve him loyally, with the abilities to manipulate her hair and sonic scream. She wears purple with black winged eyeliner, white eyes, and black and gray hair. Her personality, while brainwashed, is very over-the-top gothic villainess, while before that, she's a usual heroic queen archetype. In Legacy, cut out all the parts of her being resurrected or brainwashed, cause they just don't do that part, but pretty much everything beforehand is spot on, other than the design, which even then, we don't really know what Sindel looked like before being brought back. Like Stryker, she's not really in the series enough to get changed too much. She has the exact same storyline of being the Queen of Edenia, mother of Kitana, forced to become Shao's wife, though this time it's explicitly the creation of Mileena that pushes her over the edge to... YouTube won't like me if I say it. Which is a super interesting storyline that they could have done a lot more with. Maybe Mileena feels responsible for their mother's death. Maybe Kitana blames her for it. Instead, they did nothing. Her design also isn't too bad. She just has black hair instead of gray and black hair, and her outfit is purple, though you can barely tell because of how damn dark this series is, but it's not really too similar in structure to the OG Sindel, which is why I don't give full points to it. But yeah, Legacy Sindel, pretty accurate, not bad. At number 6 with a 76.2, a C, sticking with Edenians, I have Kitana from both seasons. Kitana in the games is the warrior princess from Edenia and adopted daughter of Shao Kahn, as previously stated, daughter of Sindel as well. Originally, she fights for Outworld, believing Shao Kahn to be her biological father, and being raised alongside Mileena, thinking she's her biological sister. Eventually, she finds out the truth and abandons ship to the Earthrealm side, fighting for them for the remainder of the series. Her personality is very elegant. She's not rough and tough like a Sonya, while still being just as independent and badass. She uses bladed fans and can use them to manipulate the air. She wears blue and has either dark brown or black hair, and is usually seen as Asian, especially in recent years, but she's been depicted with many different races over the course of her existence. Kitana in Legacy is the adopted daughter of Shao Kahn, daughter of Sindel, raised alongside Mileena. She's a warrior, though doesn't seem like the princess of Outworld. It kinda appears she's just another one of Shao's minions, though it's clear he prefers her to Mileena. She's played by an Asian actress in Samantha Wynn, and wears a blue outfit in both seasons, though only wears the mask in the animated cutscenes from Season 1, which I'm not really sure how to count those. Also, there's a major change to her story, with her meeting her real father Jared and finding out on her own that she's not the real daughter of Shao Kahn. Jared also has all these decoys that Kitana and Mileena are sent to kill. It's a very weird overcomplication of the original story. She also goes to the island for the tournament, which is not accurate, though she does betray the Outworld side, cutting off Mileena's head, which is spot on to how events played out in Mortal Kombat 2. Relationship-wise, the stuff with Shao Kahn and especially Mileena is good, though she doesn't interact with the Earthrealmers as much as she should, particularly Liu Kang, though that's less her fault than it is his. And there's also no Jade in this timeline, which is a massive thing to leave out. They're best friends, they go together like peanut butter and jelly. You can't forget Jade. But for the most part, it's Kitana. Unfortunately, Legacy doesn't have too many characters you can say are, in fact, the character. At number 5 with a 76.9, a C+, I have Jax from Season 1. Jax in the games is Sonya's Special Forces commander and best friend. He keeps her grounded in her life mission to capture Kano, or at least tries. He's very big and muscular and has a focus on boxing and wrestling in his fighting style. He's the first black character in Mortal Kombat history, and his personality is a mix of tough and confident, but he also has a sense of snarkiness and humor. And of course, he gets giant metal arms implanted over his real ones, or in most cases today, his real ones get destroyed in some gruesome manner, and his metal arms replace them. Jax in Legacy is mostly the same deal as Sonya. The humor in his personality isn't really there, but the toughness and grittiness is. His outfit is pretty much the same as Sonya's, but I think it's a little worse for Jax considering he has a more distinct look than Sonya. He has no metal arms like Kano. He was supposed to get them and use them in the next season, but the character was just dropped. At the end of the second episode, a bomb detonates that blows his arms off. His characteristics though are really good. He looks like Jax in the face and hair, or lack thereof, obviously skin color, but the most major thing for me that shot him up much higher than Sonya is the casting of Michael Jai White. Usually I don't take into account casting too much unless it's just absolutely peak like a Karatigawa, or here with Michael Jai White, who is just the perfect Jax. No disrespect to anyone else who's played him, especially Makad Brooks, since I like his version a lot too, but man, a prime Michael Jai White playing Jax in a big budget movie would have been so peak. This is the best we got though, so I'll take it. Oh yeah, and he's also the one who scars Kano, allowing him to get his metal eye, which is accurate to the games. It was confirmed somewhere that it was Jax. I personally would have preferred Sonya, but who the hell cares what I think? And yeah, good version of Jax. Sucks we didn't get to see more of him. At number 4 with a 77.1, a C+, we have Mileena. Mileena in the games is the clone of Kitana created to make sure Shao Kahn would always have a daughter completely loyal to him. Her blood was mixed with a Tarkatan's, so she has razor sharp teeth and a lust for flesh that she must learn to control. She wears pink, often revealing clothing, and uses Psy, while having the ability to teleport and roll around like Sonic the Hedgehog. Her personality can seem very seductive at first, but can turn ravenous and deadly in an instant. But deep down, she has insecurities over her appearance and Tarkatan's side that she just wants to be accepted for. That's what the mask is. I'm not gonna make the joke again. I'm not gonna. In Legacy, Mileena is the clone of Kitana with Tarkatan DNA, created by Shang Tsung to give Shao a loyal daughter. Perfect so far. As she grows up, her Tarkatan features become more and more prominent, with her attacking and eating random outworld guards to satiate her hunger, though her mouth never fully becomes the full razor-sharp teeth, instead only unhinging sometimes. Usually, her mouth just looks like she's gonna put a knife in your mouth and ask, how she got these scars. So that's pretty disappointing, and she also doesn't wear the mask, again, besides in the animated cutscenes. Also, she does kill the real King Jared, which never happened originally. She does wear pink though, and I quite like this outfit. In the first season, she's played by an actress who looks nearly identical to Samantha Wynn. Seriously, whoever the casting director was for these two, holy crap. But in season 2, she's played by a different actress who looks nothing like her. Yeah, have one of these. But overall, they do a pretty damn good job adapting Mileena's backstory, even her storyline at MK2 being killed by Kitana, and even that personal aspect of the character with her insecurities. This is the only MK media outside of the games to adapt that, so bravo, for the most part. You're still holding that L from earlier. At number 3 with a 79.4, a C+, we have Scorpion. Scorpion in the games is Hanzo Asashi, who on a mission to take the map of elements from a Shaolin temple was killed by his rival, Bihan aka Sub-Zero, who was on a mission to do the same thing. Both were employed by the same man, Quan Chi, and with Bihan being the one that's successful, he kills Scorpion's entire clan and family. The rage brought on by this is enough to resurrect Scorpion from the Netherrealm, and he torments Bihan before eventually killing him during the first Mortal Kombat tournament. He wears a yellow ninja outfit, has white eyes, can teleport, and uses a roped kunai to pull in opponents. His personality is rageful and bitter, wanting nothing else but revenge against Sub-Zero. It's his one and only purpose. In Legacy, there are definitely some major story changes that I hate, but everything else is so accurate that it manages to get him this high. Starting with what isn't accurate, Hanzo is the childhood friend of Bihan, and the two are not rivals until much later on, with them even making a peace treaty between the two clans. Hanzo is also a samurai instead of a ninja, and is never sent on any mission, so he's present when Quan Chi kills his clan, family, and him this time. But other than that, his personality both before and after his death are spot on. Originally a humble family man who has a deadly job, but just that at the end of the day, a job. And then after dying, he's hellbent on killing Sub-Zero, and he's just angry and rageful. His costume from the neck down is spot on, the best Scorpion costume we've ever gotten in live action in my opinion, but the mask is different with the mouth, but it's not too bad, and he also does have the white eyes. He can also teleport and uses the kunai, saying get over here in both Japanese and English, which is a nice touch. But it's not Ed Boon. And for storyline, during the tournament, he kills Bi-Han just as he's supposed to. This is all super accurate, and I will give props to Legacy for leading the way for Scorpion to have much better portrayals in MK media, since before this it was just the Threshold Scorpion who sucked, even though there are some massive changes here that I don't like. It is still a C+ adaptation at the end of the day. But our last two are certainly higher than that. Starting with number 2, with a massive jump to a 96.4 or an A, we have Sektor from one episode of Season 1. Sektor in the games is the son of the Lin Kuei Grand Master who wholeheartedly believes in their mission to create obedient, lifeless warriors for their clan. How will they do this? Through the Cyber Initiative, and Sektor is the first volunteer. Sektor is Asian, though that's not really important since the cyberization process puts metal plating all over his body, with his being a distinct red color. This process also gives him new abilities to teleport, use a flamethrower, and fire rockets. He's usually seen with his right-hand man, Cyrax. They were friends before the cyberization, but their differing opinions on the initiative drive them apart. His personality is one of the few to remain after becoming a cyborg, with the others having inhibitors. He is very evil and a Lin Kuei purist. Depending on the timeline, he may create his own clan of cyborgs, take over the clan by killing his own father, or work with Quan Chi in the massacre of the Shirai Ryu. Not a good man. In Legacy, Sektor is Asian, a Lin Kuei purist who believes in the Cyber Initiative, son of the Grand Master, and he gets transformed into a cyborg. His armor is very accurate, although his head is Cyrax's head from MK9 and not his head, which is very jarring, but objectively it's still pretty accurate. He also doesn't have any of his original powers, but everything else is just 100% spot on. The beginning conversation with Cyrax in the truck shows their differing ideals perfectly, and then they both become cyborgs, have a really badass action scene, and are never seen again. There's not really much more to say than that. It's accurate. And so you can probably guess who the number 1 is. With a 97.9 and A, we have Cyrax from the same episode. Cyrax in the games is an African man from Botswana who is firmly against the Cyber Initiative. However, he is captured and forcefully turned anyway. His metal plating is yellow, and he has a net, bombs, and a circular saw blade. Eventually, his mind is restored by the Special Forces, and he becomes an ally to them and Earth overall for the remainder of the original timeline. Cyrax in Legacy has the exact same ideals. We can tell he's all beat up and stuff in the truck from resisting the Cyber Initiative, and from there it's the same as Sektor. He gets his badass outfit, which is literally his exact design from MK9, and has a super dope action scene where he uses a blade, not the circular saw he's supposed to, but it is something. And yeah, that's kinda just it. Sektor and Cyrax arguably have the best episode, and that's partly because it's kinda just a big action scene, but it's also very accurate and doesn't butcher the characters at all. See what happens when you leave things be? But that'll do it. Do you agree or disagree with my placements? Let me know in the comments down below. Subscribe and leave a like if you want, and that's wraps on this one, my fellow oddities. I'll see you next time.